So, back here waiting for the grocery shopping to pass, and just had myself a Subway, and it was pleasant. It was it was cooked, but I kind of almost felt like a fresh Subway. But I haven't had a fresh Subway for such a long time, and it's really strange to have a craving for a fresh Subway. I used to get stomach aches or something from fresh Subways. There's a reason why I liked it cooked. And I've sort of been addicted to cooked for so long. But today, for some reason, I was like, I feel like a fresh Subway. I didn't say that, but I just got an ordinary cooked one. And then I was like, it's a little bit dry. I wonder what it's like fresh. Because I found the dryness of the cooked Subway a little bit disappointing. Um, so, it's something that I should experiment with probably one day. Um, if I like the cooked Subway better than the fresh one, but that won't be for ages because let's face it, how often am I around a place that sells a Subway? Not often. Um, Basically, once every 2 weeks, we come to this area, um, if not once a month, and I can't do like obviously any videos with other people present, so I'm like, I don't know. I'll do it one day, I guess. But I think on my next trip, though, I want to get a donut. I've been wanting to get this biscoffy or something donut from Donut King because I have a feeling it's really nice and custardy and sweet. I'm like, I need to buy that donut because I have a feeling it's a delicious donut. Biscoff is usually a pretty delicious brand, and they have a spread, which is more unhealthy than peanut butter, but they have a spread that they make now with Biscoffy, and I'm like, oh, that must be a pretty nice tasting spread, but I haven't bought it yet. It's like $8. And you're just thinking that's an expensive bottle of peanut butter, but it looks nice. I just don't know what it tastes like, really. But it looks like it might taste nice. And it's crunchy. So you're like, that's something that I need to try someday. And I probably will. I'll probably do all these fun things whenever I'm living back in the suburbs or the city, depending on what I can afford. I really don't know what I'm going to be able to afford in the future. And I don't know if I buy something, I'll be able to have it because a lot of people like sue you out of your house. They go take you to court, and then the court is like, the couple, the married couple who wants to have kids can have your house if they want your house. And so it's really annoying because sometimes I've been in like a house that I can finally stay in, and these stupid people just come knocking on your door, and then they are like, oh, this looks like a nice house, and then they want to buy it off you, and you don't want to sell it, so they take you to court, and it's a big deal. And the court just, so that sort of happened to me in the past, and I'm like, I would be heartbroken if I bought a house and that happened again. But it always depends on the area also. I mean, you've got old areas and new areas, and essentially new areas you probably won't have a problem, but in old areas you have lots of snobbish people who want to, own the community kind of aspect. In some new areas, you do feel unwelcome though, as though people make up a rule and then they sort of bother you because, especially if you're single and you don't look like you have a family, people don't want you to live in anything in it but an apartment. And even in new areas, it's like, oh, you're not with a family, so you need to like get a husband or a family or leave. And some of my other relatives don't have that issue because they have a family, and I'm like, and I don't. And so yeah, they sort of have these silly community rules sometimes, and I'm like, You know what I need? I need the cheapest rundown place where I can just sit in there and be left alone. Yeah, yeah. So, who knows? I might end up going back to the state where I left. And if I find a little house or something, cheap enough for me, because essentially it's public transport all over the place, and I'm like, it should be near public transport. I'm like, I need, I do need something. Everyone says buy an apartment, but when I buy apartments, same thing. You get bad weather, and then my apartment window gets torn out or something. So annoying. I like the modern apartments. I think they're quite nice, even though they're kind of, it's like 2 by 2 square meter. But they're kind of nice, but they're kind of expensive too. They sold the cheap ones ages ago, and now all the apartments are like 400,000, 500,000, 20,000 body corporate fees. It used to be, on the cheap one, it used to be $2,000 a year body corporate fees. And you're like, there's hardly anything cheap anymore, and so I sort of overlook new apartments. I mean, there are some wonderful apartments on the Gold Coast, but they have extremely bad weather, and it's like, do I have that much money? It's like, no, I don't have any money, okay. I'm trying to get there, but it's just a long wait. It's a long wait for nothing, so I really should just get my dancing shoes on but whatever. I sort of hate being coddled by by parents a little sometimes, because I'm like, if you just chuck me out, I would probably go haywire. I'd be putting more of a physical effort into living rather than just lounging around looking for work and being content living on just casual employment. And it's like, well, I'm not content, but it's like I'm sort of content. I'm sort of saving, but I'm not saving as much as if I had a full-time job kind of saving, but I'm still saving some. But I don't know. But I always want to live near a beach. I would love to live near a beach. I just don't really especially like beaches. I don't love beaches. I love to live near a beach, but I don't love beaches. I think Gold Coast is probably one of the best areas to live if you want to live near a beach. But the weather's traumatic, so I can't live there. It's too expensive. I don't earn $5 million a day like other people, so I'm like, no, I would. I mean, they would have to have a budget. They do have this one building that I've bought previously, and it's a budget. It's a budget building, and whenever they sell an apartment, it's a budget sale, so you can buy something kind of cheap there. I keep my eye out for it, because that's where you can get yourself either an investment property or something to live in. And you're like going, well, if they were selling something there, I might take a look at it. But they sell pretty nice little apartments. But I've had them previously, and once again, the weather just sucks. I've tried to put like little weatherproof stumps on the balcony, but that they don't hold when they're not cemented in the ground. So don't do that ever. It's only when they're cemented in the ground that they're cool. So I do buy a raffle ticket to get win a charity house, but they suck so much. I don't have much eagerness for anything but collecting the bullion that they have associated with the ticket. I don't really like. I like some of them, but you always get scummed out. You always get told to leave because it's not a real house and you can't live there as long as you want. And then you go, yes, I can. I want it, right? Then you slam door in people's faces and they leave you alone. But sooner or later, people just. If people leave you alone, you can live there for as long as you want. But sooner or later, the place it just sucks and you can't really live there anymore. So I don't really like NDIS houses because a lot of the times they're like in really bad areas and people like want to get to know you and they annoy you. I think the better ones are the Mater, but even with Mater, people just annoy you. But I am, and I think the best one is the RSL because they just give you whatever. But I did believe I did get an RSL house, and they had a group of people. It was in They had a group of people say, "Get out of the house. We don't want you living here anymore." And I had turned my house into like a submarine kind of aspect, and it hadn't fallen down yet, and it was standing and staying, and everyone's like, well, the ocean, covers the house every day kind of aspect, and it's like, yeah. But, they try and get you not to live in it, and that's the only RSL building. Most other RSL buildings are pretty cool, in a way. I mean, you have to bulletproof it, because people come around with guns and be like, yeah, you can't live there. So you have to bulletproof it, but once you get over that obstacle, they usually leave you to live in your house. From my experience, I like the apartment. I did have an apartment, an RSL apartment on the Gold Coast, but then like a tornado ripped out the window or something, and I couldn't fix it because I couldn't afford to fix it at the time. And so I sold it. But that was one of my favorite apartments because I would just be like having a bad day, and then I would go into this apartment and be like zen, and it was relaxing. I could sleep, and I was like, this is an alright apartment after all. I won a trifecta. I won 3 apartments, and they wouldn't let me rent them, so of course I had to give all the apartments away because too expensive. But for a while I had 3 apartments. I was venturing from one to another to another. I loved the one in Melbourne. That had the best views, but obviously it's too expensive. The one in Sydney was great, but it sucked. I mean, the area sucked, but it was great. It had a really good view, and it was actually quite secure. And if I could have rented it, I would have kept it because I think that was probably one of the most secured buildings. And then the one on the Gold Coast was another one of my favorites. So it was a good trifecta. It's just I can't afford $70,000 worth of bloody corporate fees a year. And I'm like, do I look like I earn over $100,000? I wanted to keep them. Oh my gosh, how painful was it to not be able to rent them and have to give them away? Going, oh, I'm so traumatized. I have to be like a multi-billionaire. But I did win it. I wish I could just keep one of them. But they're all good in different ways. And I was very impressed with those apartments. They were nice. Anyway, I think that's my best bet for an apartment. At the moment, I'm in, or a house or whatever. Anyway, enough reminiscing. I'm sure the other person is going to come back with the groceries sometime soon. So